Perfect. Good morning. This is Magical Monday Manifestations. I'm your host, Valorie Lewis. And on Mondays, we come together to get guidance from the divine, from spirit, from source, from whatever energies have our highest and best good and who wish to offer us guidance on this path. And we call it Magical Monday Manifestations because we want to be able to take this information and manifest what we want in our life, create our lives, being creators of our life instead of reactors to our life. So that's why we get together on Mondays at the start of our week to set ourselves up for success. And I feel like I was going to do something else, but I don't remember what it was. Okay, this morning is going to be a little bit different, a little bit off script. Pardon me, I'm still trying to get over a cold. A little bit off script. I'm going to talk for just a little bit. So if this is not your jam, I understand that. We will get into the card pull, but we're going to start off with just a little bit of talking and sharing. And then we'll get into the card pull. I thought I would share a little bit about what's going on for a couple of reasons. The first reason is because I have heard nobody talks about this. And so I'm like, well, I'll talk shit. I'll be the one to talk about it. I'll tell y'all all about it. It's kind of, when you go to a reader, you often see their best face. You often see them completely tapped in, tuned on. You don't know about all the shit that goes on behind the scenes. And so you think, oh my goodness, I want to be like that person who's tapped in and tuned in all the time. Nah, that ain't, nah, that's not what's going on. So I am still getting over a cold. I apologize. One moment. This living the dream ain't all that it seems. Ain't that the truth? That was a chat comment. YouTube, if you're joining me from YouTube, welcome. And I do not watch the comments on YouTube. I simulcast this so that there's a recording for the public. For those who missed the live event, if you're interested in joining the live event, you'll need to head on over to Meetup and find my group, Tarot Unicorns and Coffee. Pretty sure if you search Tarot Unicorns and Coffee, I'm the only group that comes up with that term. And then you can join this live broadcast on the Meetup side on Zoom. So other than that, a little bit different, like I said. So what's going on with Valorie? And I will tell you why we don't share this. I'll tell you why personally I don't share this is because I don't like being a whiner. I don't like playing the victim. I don't like putting myself out there and feeling like I'm telling stories just so everybody can say, oh, what's wrong with you? And that's my own personal hangups. But I'm realizing that by not sharing these things, there are things in my story that could help others. Let me put it that way. And by not sharing for my own personal reasons, Spirit is letting me know there's people who could benefit from this. So share it and get over yourself. That's what Spirit is saying to me in this moment. So I want to talk about the lost feeling, the I don't know what the fuck I'm doing on my spiritual path feeling that I get too often. I want to talk about the times when you really want to connect, but you can't connect. I want to talk about the times when you don't even fucking want to connect. I thought about this analogy earlier this morning. Many of you know I recently lost my mother. She passed away unexpectedly and suddenly. And let me just get you up to speed about where I'm at currently in this moment. Yesterday, the family needed to go through her things and decide what to keep, what to donate, what to toss out. And that consumed pretty much all of my day yesterday. And it was an emotional roller coaster. And not only was I dealing with my mother's passing, but then going through her stuff, I found stuff of her and my dad. My dad has passed too. I found letters from my deceased brother to my mother. And so all of this is just like, hey, you want to deal with everything all at once right here? It's that spirit talking to me. And I'm telling you this to tell you that there are times when life hits you hard, like really, really hard, so hard that on your spiritual path, you don't want to connect. Now, not now, but a couple of weeks ago when I was canceling Magical Monday manifestations, and I know y'all were like, oh, well, I know Valerie's dealing with shit. Valerie was dealing with shit, yes, but Valerie was a cell phone on 3%, and I couldn't find my charger. That's what it was. I couldn't connect to spirit if I wanted to because I couldn't find my charger cord. Y'all ever felt like that? It's not like I want to and I just don't feel like it, or I just don't know how, or I have the cord in my hand and I don't want to walk over to the outlet. I've had those moments too. But I was in a situation where I couldn't find the fucking cord. Like I couldn't connect if I wanted to. Shit like that happens to all of us. And I want to encourage you, if you are in that position, that it does get better. And I know that's the last thing you want to hear when you're in that position, but you will find your cord. You will plug it back in. And then there was times in this past couple of months, shit, from the first of the year, because y'all know I was dealing with other family stuff at the first of the year. When I'm walking around with the cord in my hand, just twirling it, I don't fucking know where this goes. I don't know where the outlet is. Like I have the ability to connect, but I'm just not there. And so I think it's important to talk about these things because I don't want y'all thinking that people who seem spiritually connected, leaders, are always connected. No, we have those moments where we can't find the connection either. And it's not for lack of trying and it's not for lack of wanting. Sometimes it's just not there. And do you know what my advice for y'all is when you find those moments when you can't connect? Rest. Take a break. Maybe that is spirit saying to you, I see you, my child. I'm with you, but you don't need to connect right now. You don't need the messages. You don't need the energy surges. You need to rest. And so maybe if there's nothing else that you can do in those moments when you are feeling lost and disconnected, just rest. That's my best advice to you. That's spirit's best advice to you. The connection will come back. I don't know how long it'll take for you because I'm not on your path, but I know the connection will come back. And I know that because spirit told me so, and I trust spirit. At the end of last night, I had this surreal moment where I was sitting in my car. I had finally gotten home at the end of the night. I was sitting in my car and I had this emotion. And I was like, what is this emotion? Like, I couldn't figure out what it is. And I probably sat in that emotion. Well, I would say it was on the drive home. I probably sat in that emotion for a good 15, 20 minutes, indistinguishable, couldn't figure out what it is. And finally it hit me. I was feeling everything. It wasn't grief, it wasn't love, and that's why I couldn't figure out what it was. It wasn't sadness, it was everything. It had everything all at once. And it was weird because part of me was like excited because I had never felt everything all at once. And part of me was like, what the fuck is happening? Make it stop, make it stop. So I don't know why I'm sharing. I think I'm sharing just because of the fact that I think there are so many people out there who can relate to some of what I'm saying, probably not all, but some of what I'm saying at some point in your life. And if I don't share this, then there's that feeling of I'm going through this shit, but people who are connected don't go through this, so something's wrong with me. No, people who are connected do go through this shit, sometimes on a daily basis, sometimes for extended period. What makes it different? Is Valorie some superhuman person who can pull herself out of the darkness and put on a cape and sit in front of you all? What makes the difference? And you're sitting there saying, well, I can't do that because my life just really, really sucks and I don't know how she does it. And that's why I come to her meetups. No. I was thinking about that a lot. Like how am I doing this? I'll tell you what, because of all of the events that have happened in my life. That line between sanity and insanity. First it was blurred, now it's fucking gone, y'all. Maybe I'm doing this shit because I'm fucking insane. I don't know. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between insanity and sanity. The line between reality and reality is fucking gone too. And in that blurry space, I get to choose. I get to make my reality. I get to decide what's sane and what's not. And there's power in that. So you can look at the situation as I'm lost and I don't know what to do, or you can look at the situation as I'm in this vague gray space and I get to choose what's black and I get to choose what's white and I get to choose where to put my foot next. How are you going to deal with the undealable? That's what I'm calling my life right now. How are you going to deal with the undealable? I don't know. You decide. You decide. That's what I keep telling myself. That's what I told myself this morning. What's going to be my message after I pour my heart out and tell you how terrible my life is? My life is not terrible, y'all, but I know there's a lot of people going through a lot of things right now. I know that even though my life seems to have these insurmountable things in it, that I'm not the only one. I am not alone. And I know that there are stories out there that are worse than mine. So if I can come on here and share my story, maybe that gives hope for someone who is going through something that is really, really rough right now. How do I get out of it? I decide. Did I decide in the middle of the shitstorm? No. I decided a long time ago that one of the major top 5 things I want to do in my life is to help other people. And I decided that based on a bunch of shit that I went through before. And I said, if I went through all of that, I don't want somebody else to have to struggle through the same thing. So I decided I wanted to help people. And that decision was not, I want to help people when I feel good. I want to help people when I feel strong. It was, I want to help people, period. So I get up on days like this. This morning, I set my clock at 7 and it took me 3 hours to get ready because I had a fucking anxiety attack. I had an anxiety attack last night and it took me 2 hours to fall asleep because I had to get over my anxiety attack before I could fall asleep. And then I woke up and I woke up with a fucking anxiety attack. I'm like, how does that shit happen? Like, y'all just, spirit guys are just making shit up now, for real, for real. Like, you don't wake up in an anxiety attack. But I did. And my decision was, there are people who can benefit from this and it's not about me. So I'm not saying that that has to be your path. That was my decision. I want to help people. And so my path, I want to help people, means I help people on my good days and my bad days. So that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm talking and babbling and sharing, because maybe some of this is of benefit to someone who is thinking they have to be strong all the time, or someone who is thinking they have to have it figured out, or someone who is thinking they're not connected and that's a bad thing. It's all part of the path. Just keep telling yourself it's all part of the path and then make a decision. So maybe this Monday is the time that you decide, maybe for the first time, you make a decision that's going to pull you out of whatever you're going to do. Or if you're in a good space, you make a decision that's going to get you to the next level. But I firmly believe that everything is all about starting with a decision. Because when I decide, spirit lines up. When I decide that I want to help people, spirit shows up on my bad days. Is this me sitting in front of you? No, because Valorie wants to be in bed. Valorie said, Spirit, come sit with me this morning. And Spirit said, this is what we're going to do for the people because you made a decision and I'm going to help you with that decision. So Spirit will show up when you make a decision. So if Spirit seems to not be completely behind you 100%, backtrack and ask yourself, have I decided yet? Have I truly decided? Because Spirit will show up. I'll tell you another thing I did is I asked Spirit, and this is maybe something that can help you. I often think of my higher self as something outside of myself. I'm connected to it, but something outside of myself. Before I even went over to help going through my mother's stuff, I asked my higher self to not come and be with me, but to come and sit in me, to integrate with me. I can do all things through she who strengthens me. I think that's a scripture. I call it she because Goddess is my higher power. And she came and sat in me. And maybe that's something you can do. Maybe you can call your higher power to come and sit in you and give you that strength that you don't have for yourself. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to babble about, to let y'all know that there are no superhumans in this planet. There are no superhumans. There are people who have decided, and there are people who make those decisions and then stand by those decisions. So maybe it's time for you to make a decision in your life about where you want the direction to go. And then you wait and you let spirit. It's not instantaneous. It doesn't always feel like it's there, but it's there. Spirit will line up and help you with those decisions. Okay. I kind of feel like I went all over the place, but I hope I said something that struck a chord, inspired, strengthened, helped you all in some way this morning. Because I want you to know that real people have real issues, and we choose to keep going on. And we don't just choose to keep going on and because we're superhuman, we choose to keep going on, and we call in our reinforcements. And that is something that each and every one of us are capable of doing. So I hope you make that choice. I have pulled the tarot cards. We're going to get into the reading. Valerie's going to get off her pedestal, her soapbox. We do tarot cards first, and then we move into oracle cards, and then we allow any messages that spirit needs to share to come through. And the first card is near and dear to my heart and to all Sagittarians because it's Temperance. And Temperance is a major arcana. Temperance is also the card for Sagittarius energy. It's about many things because major arcana have many meanings, but the meaning that's coming through for today is the alchemist. To me, Temperance is the alchemist of the tarot. The magician is too, but Temperance, the magician is like the person who uses alchemy as part of their skill set. Temperance is like the alchemist. Like that's what they hone. That's what they work on. Y'all, it's a red solo cup, but I promise it's orange juice. I told you I'm getting over a cold. And there's no whiskey in the orange juice yet. So Temperance, the alchemist. Temperance is able to mix the shit show that life has served up to them and make it into something that works. That's what Temperance is about for today's reading. You see the light and the dark here? Temperance is also considered balance, finding temperance, temperament, the balance between the light and the dark, the balance between whatever you're going through. But also I like to think of it as an alchemist, someone who has those two cups. They're mixing them back and forth until they get just the perfect mix. What's interesting to remember as we think about balance, we often think about balance scales and we often think about equal weight on each side of the scale. Temperance to me is a little bit different because Temperance is the alchemist. They're mixing those things to get the perfect mix. And maybe that means there's 4 cups sugar and 2 cups water. So what I'm saying is it's not always about equal parts on both sides. It's about figuring out what you need in this moment. Do you need more rest and less activity? That could bring you back into balance. Do you need equal parts rest and activity? Maybe. It's about finding the perfect balance for you. So at the beginning of this week, I encourage all of you to look at the areas of your life that feel a little imbalanced. And instead of trying to make them equal parts of this or equal parts of that, or based on some remedy on the internet for whatever you might be going through, or listening to a fucking internet psychic on YouTube, figure out, tune in to your higher self and figure out what is the perfect mix for you, for your situation, to help you move forward through this week. What do you need to mix, to balance out, to help you move forward through this week? And Temperance is asking us to take a look at the beginning of our week to mix all of the things that are on our plate in such a way that we can move through our week with more ease. If you've got something very heavy on your mind, Maybe Temperance is asking you to set that to the side for just a minute and to work on something else. I don't know. Each person's case is individual, but it would be very beneficial based on the messages from Spirit if you spent a little bit of time in meditation or quiet reflection at the beginning of your week and ask yourself, what do I really need to proceed through this week? After you ask yourself, another major arcana, the Chariot. Many of you might remember that Chariot is also the major arcana card for the year 2023. And damn if this hasn't proved true. Off and running. And before you can even settle into one thing, you got something else coming your way. So first, find your mix of what you're going to be working with this week. And then Spirit is like, come on, let's go. I don't want you sitting in this and thinking about it and overthinking it. It's time to move. This is also the make a decision card. Black and white. I talked about black and white earlier. I talked about being in that gray area where nothing makes sense, and you get to decide from that point. You can either sit in that gray area and say, nothing makes sense, everything's gray, there's no color in my life. Wah, wah, wah. I've done that too, myself. I'm not, if you're there, good for you. I'll hand you some tissues, because people have definitely handed me tissues. But at some moment, you got to get off your ass and look around at all the gray and decide for yourself what's gray, what's white, and what's black. From an area where nothing makes sense, you get to decide what makes sense. One moment. Okay, so you're deciding, you're off and running. Who do we have up next? The Queen of Swords. Queen, not the king. So divine feminine energy is telling me to be gentle with yourself, be nurturing towards yourself. And also, this is about your thoughts. Where are your thoughts leading you? Are you embracing the divine feminine as you examine your thoughts? Are you letting inspiration, divine feminine is about intuition and inspiration, top of the things, it's also about nurturing. Are you letting those energies guide your thoughts? If you have a thought, is it a nurturing thought? If you have a thought, is it being led by your intuition? If you have a thought, is it kind and loving? Because those types of thoughts are what's going to benefit you this week. Got a message coming through. Hold on. Your thoughts are creating your reality. I've heard that a million times before, but it seems so important right now. It's almost as if I know I'm not alone in this. I know the energies are crazy for everyone. And it feels as if everything is being flipped on its head. And for some people, especially earth energies and very grounded personalities, that can be extremely disruptive. But in the midst of chaos, I'm just going to keep saying over and over again, you get to decide. There is chaos for a reason, because in the midst of chaos, you get to decide what comes out the other side. So take this moment to not allow yourself to get lost and distracted by the chaos, but to allow yourself to find the eye of the tornado, so to speak, and to take a moment and decide, I see this tornado swirling around me. Before I step back into the tornado that I know I have to step into because there's no way out of it, I have to go through it. But before I step back into the tornado, I'm going to decide where I'm going to swirl and where it's going to set me down. Next is the Star. 3 major arcana, y'all. 3 fucking major arcana in this week. Not that that's never happened before, but I just feel like it's not just me. Spirit woke me up with the idea of it's not just you. Get in front of your community, share, because it's not just you going through this, my child. Everybody's going through some shit. That's not to say if you're going through some shit that you should just be like, oh, well, I'm not going to worry about it because everybody's going through it. No, you do you. You take care of you because your shit is important. But just realize that there's something bigger afoot. And this star card, I love the star. I fucking love the star. And I really, really love this depiction of the star. The star, in the story of the Fool's journey, the Fool has already visited, the Fool visits all of the major arcana in order and learns a lesson from each one of them, a lesson that's going to benefit their life path, so to speak. By the time the Fool gets to the star, the Fool has already visited the Tower, death, the wheel. The wheel, I know some of you are like, oh, the Wheel of Fortune, but if you see the wheel in Rider-Waite-Smith version and you envision it as a character witnessing the wheel, that's a bizarre occurrence. It's a wheel floating in the heaven with these 4 astrological symbols and winged goats and winged bulls, and they're all reading books, and there's shit going on the wheel, and there's death, and there's being risen up from the dead. All of that shit is going on the wheel, and the Fool has already witnessed all of this shit and had a tower moment and visited death. And then the Fool comes to the star. And the star is this beautiful maiden, usually depicted naked, sitting by water's edge, filling cups. And she is connected to the star. And the way I tell the story of the star is it is an actual celestial being who has decided to come down to Earth because she loves visiting Earth in the flesh. This is a moment for the Fool to replenish themselves, to sit with this celestial being, to feel connected to the stars, to feel connected to the earth, to refresh, rejuvenate, sit by water's edge, maybe cool their feet in the water, maybe take a drink. But it's a moment to allow themselves to be poured back into. Anybody need some of that? This message is not coming to us because Valorie likes pretty cards and it's just one of the cards she pulled. Spirit gives me these cards, and that means we all need to take a moment to make sure that we are full make sure we are rejuvenated, replenished, rested before we continue this next leg of our journey. We're going to talk a little bit more about that because I already know that I'm going to pull from the self-care oracle today. But this is definitely, please take heed of this, because I don't feel personally for myself, I don't feel like this year is going to slow down for me at all. This whole year is a Chariot year. I didn't think it was going to start off this much, that I would have to deal with this much. It's only March, y'all. But if I'm dealing with it, and if I'm also getting the sense, and Spirit is preparing me that this is not the end, that you got more of this coming, then I'm going to say the same as for all of us. We've got more of whatever shit was put on your plate at the beginning of 2023, this Chariot year. Just know your plate ain't full yet. So you are going to need to, anytime you hear a message about rest, rejuvenate, refill, take heed. You're going to need that. If you don't listen to it, good luck. Good luck. My heart goes out to you if you are trying to do all of this without resting. And then finally, we have the Four of Pentacles. Fours speak to stability. Pentacles speak to this earthly manifested world. What are the things that we hold valuable? Look at how she's clutching that purse. Now, we would assume it's a purse. It's got 4 pentacles in it or on it, that we're talking about money. But we're talking about anything that she holds valuable. Anything. Maybe she's got pictures of her children in there, pictures of loved ones. Maybe she's got her life purpose in that purse. Maybe that purse is a coach purse and she just likes the purse itself. Maybe the purse is empty. I'm saying that because we found out my mama has a Coach purse yesterday, a brand new Coach purse just sitting in a bag. She never used it. What is that about? Anyway, maybe that's something valuable that you're just holding on to for a good day. I don't know. But stability. You are going through a lot. We are going through a lot. Collectively, Earth is going through a lot. And at the end of this pool, card number 5, stability. I'll take it, even if it's only a 4, even if it's only a little bitty old 4, even if it's only a little bitty old purse, I'll take it. So yes, I do believe that this is talking about figure out, you know what, another message is coming through for me right now in the moment from Spirit. I'm hearing the word minimize, but not in an admonition kind of admonishment kind of way, not in a you need to do this kind of way, but in a you're carrying too much shit with you kind of way. You have, Spirit is saying, re-examine and recalculate the things that you hold valuable in your life. That gold star on your 3rd grade picture of a flower that you have held on to all this time, maybe it's time to replace it. Sometimes we carry so much through our life that we kind of lose track of what's valuable and what's not, because what was really important to us 3 years ago that we keep holding on to, that we haven't detached from, that we haven't let go of, is not really important to us right now, but we haven't taken the time to sit down and re-examine, is this still important? So we just keep packing it in our bag and carrying it with us and packing it in our bag and carrying it with us. This is a time to unpack your entire bag, go through your entire bag, and then only put back in those things that are actually important to you. You might be surprised with what you put back in. 4 of Pentacles, a little bit more stability when we can reduce the amount of things that are asking for our attention. Is that thing that you have devoted so much of your energy, time, emotions towards, is it really still valuable? Or is it something that you can set down? That's the tarot. Let's see what other messages we have. I told you I was going to go to self-care. I think I'm going to go straight to self-care. So next we're going to go to Oracle cards. And we're going to see what the Oracle has for us. Somebody's talking about astrological happenings. Yes, not only is things happening down here on planet Earth, but astrology is confirming something is afoot. Y'all, on top of everything else, for those of y'all that follow astrology, my Chiron return is this year in April. Yay. Spirit is just like, you want to deal with everything all at once? Here you go. Sacred Self-Care Oracle. And when I keep thinking about that, I'm like, okay, this year kind of makes more sense then. I get it. I didn't ask for it, but I get it. Well, I guess part of me asked for it because you don't get what you don't ask for. Ha! I just did all that fucking talk about the astrology, and here's the card I pulled for self-care. Look to the stars. Self-care, look to the stars. There's phases of the moon, all the all of the zodiac signs. Look to the stars for self-care. Let's see, what card? This is 31. 31, 3 and 1 is a 4. There's that stability again. In the midst of everything that's going on, I do like getting those little pokes that stability is still there too. Valorie, I know this is Spirit talking to me and maybe to y'all through me. Spirit is saying to me, Valorie, I know your life looks like a shitstorm right now, but stability is part of that shitstorm. You can choose to see right now, when I say shitstorm, I see swirling chaos around me. And Spirit keeps reminding me that in that chaos is not just all the bad stuff, all the good stuff is swirling in there too. So from your point of looking at the chaos, are you going to pull out the bad stuff and fixate on that? Or are you going to find that when the stability swirls past you, maybe you grab some of that, because stability is in that mix too. So I get little hits like the 3 and the 1 adding up to 4, and 4 being stability. I get little hits telling me stability is there too. The mantra for this card is the stars reflect my magic. As above, so below. This ancient aphorism represents how our human experience reflects the movements of the stars in the universe. Just as our ancestors did, we can look to the heavens for insight in our shared experience as people on this planet. Astrology is a powerful tool for recognizing patterns impacting the collective consciousness, which we can often see play out among our friends, family, lovers, community, and our own life. Yep. Deepen your understanding of yourself and the astrological patterns through self-study or by working with a professional astrologer. As you tune into the different astrological seasons, you can gain great insight into what energies are working in your favor. This practice will allow you to flow with the energies instead of feeling like you are swimming in opposition to the currents of life. A journal prompt, if you might want to journal about it, is how can you best work with the current astrological season? If you're unsure what it is, take a moment to look it up and read what it's all about. I will say another thing that might be working in your favor if you follow astrology is the astrological new year is coming up too. Now I always see that as a chance to reset too, a chance to redecide, reset my intentions. That's coming up with Aries season, the beginning of the astrological year. So if y'all need a reset, use the stars as a way to reset. New moon tomorrow. Tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. 21st. Yeah. And it's I'm gonna call it a numerical palindrome because I don't know what else to call it. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. Same number forward and backwards tomorrow, and it's also a new moon. I don't know if the numerology has anything on it, but I just thought it was pretty cool. And y'all know I sure as hell I'm gonna be setting some intentions tomorrow because shit, a sister needs some help. Let's reset. All right, next one. I do see that direct message. And yes, I will respond as soon as I get a chance. And the next deck that I'm pulling from is Star Codes Astro Oracle. Scorpio, investigate. Card number 8. 8 is abundance. Scorpio is the energy that will help us this week. So when I pull from anything that's astrological in nature, it's not necessarily saying wait until it's Scorpio season. It's saying these energies are ever present in our skies, and this is the energy that can help you, that you can call on to help you through this week. Scorpio energy. Scorpio is investigate. I do know a little bit about Scorpio because my oldest daughter is a Scorpio, and so therefore I've looked into it a little bit. And also because it's the sign right before Sagittarius. Scorpios are the people that dig deep. They're the people that don't mind going into the darkness because they love investigating and figuring out what's going on and why is it dark and what can I learn from the darkness. So they investigate. They go, I saw this meme. I've seen this meme a lot that says something about don't fall in love with a November Scorpio. I'm like, what does that mean? My daughter's a November Scorpio. Anyway, I don't know why I keep picking that card up. Let me read what it says. Scorpio asks you to dive down and reach into the well springs of your soul. And maybe that has to do with you, again, examining what's important to you, like that 4 of Pentacles cards, and digging into the well springs of your soul could also have to deal with you need to go that deep in order for you to make a decision, because you've been up here playing on the top of the water, just kind of going with whatever comes your way. Maybe sometimes you dip a little bit below the surface. Maybe sometimes you kind of sort of decide. Maybe sometimes source kind of lines up with you and kind of gives you kind of sort of what you want. But if you really want to get what you really want out of life, dig deep and make those solid decisions. This is what I'm going to do with my life, and I am going to commit to this. And then spirit is going to line up, and spirit will line up when you are able to make those solid decisions. So Scorpio symbols are the eagle and the scorpion. I didn't know the eagle was a symbol for a Scorpio. As the sign invokes both the soaring heights of the eagle's perspective and the scorpion's ability to burrow under the rocks of the psyche or culture. The fixed water sign Scorpio is ruled by Mars in traditional astrology and co-ruled by Pluto in modern astrology. It's connected to the root chakra, duh, because we're talking about digging deep and figuring out what really makes us tick. So root chakra work might also be in order for some of you. The message of this card is drop assumptions and ask questions. Be fascinated by a mystery, dive deep into the well rather than settle for the surface. Look under rocks and be curious, as the situation is going to require some research. Take nothing at face value. Probe the conscious and unconscious passions that motivate the situation. Be aware of the sexual dynamics in the room and what role they play. Look at worst case scenarios so that you can prepare and then feel safe enough to search for the best case scenario. Be ready to transform and transmute the situation. That's one. Be ready to transform and transmute the situation. So what's that telling me? That's telling me that when I dive deep and when I find some shit down there, I'm not just supposed to be like, well, I guess this is my life. I need to be ready to transform and transmute whatever it is that I find. Distill the essence and concentrate. That's all I'm going to read from that message. There's more, but that, I believe, is the basis of what Spirit wanted us to know. As far as that energy makes sense, it's all lining up. When we get these messages, if y'all are like, I don't want to dig deep, don't worry. It'll come back. It'll come back either when you're ready to dig deep, or Spirit will be like, and here you go. Here is all the deepness. We just pulled it to the surface for you to deal with all at once. You're welcome. So we can't get away from it, y'all. If you're on this spiritual journey, if you've asked for what you've asked for, just know that you've also asked for the work. You have also inadvertently, maybe unknowingly, asked for the work, and you're going to have to do the work if you want to get to where you want to get to. And there are helpers. There are people willing to help you do the work. I'm willing to help you do the work, but you got to do the work, or you're not going to get to where you think you want to get to. All right. What's up next? Spell casting oracle cards, which I don't pull from often, but Spirit said you're going to pull from it this morning. And a card just jumped out, so that's going to be one of our cards, but I also feel like I'm going to pull another card, and I am. Well, damn. Those kind of go hand in hand. Where's my book? The first card I pulled is family. And a full moon. I mean, a big, gorgeous moon. Family. Let's see. Sometimes you feel as though nobody listens, let alone understands you. Family members are often too busy to appreciate you, and even though you're surrounded by people, you can feel isolated. In a family, everyone has their own individual personality, and it's sometimes hard to gel or agree. A clash is normal in any family. I'll allow that statement. I'm not totally on board with it, but I'll allow it. Before you were born, you chose who your parents were, as well as any siblings. That I do believe. This was to ensure you had the necessary learning experience, whether positive or negative, you needed in order to grow and develop into the person you came here to be. I'm going to read that one more time. You chose your family and your siblings and your aunts and your uncles and your grandparents and everybody. You chose your lineage. You chose your ancestors to ensure that you had the necessary learning experience you needed in order to grow and develop into the person that you said you wanted to be when you came here. In fact, your family is your greatest teacher of all. I hear you, Spirit. I'm not agreeing that that's exactly what I signed on for, but I hear you, Spirit. Here we go. Make allowances for family differences. I'm just reading some of the meanings. They have like a whole list of meanings, and I'm trying to read the ones that I feel Spirit needs us to read. Make allowances for family differences. That's the only one that's resonating for this meeting right now. Here's something I want to go back to. Where is it at? In a family, everyone has their own individual personality, and it's sometimes hard to gel or agree. Own individual personality. In a family, message from Spirit, but it's also intertwined with my own personal journey right now at this moment. I am reminding myself through this difficult time, me and my mother did not have the best relationship, which means grieving her death is exponentially more than what I was equipped for. But I remind myself I chose her as my mother, and I chose the difficulties surrounding our relationship. And I chose my father, and I chose my brothers, and I chose my aunts and my uncles, and I chose all of that, just like the book said, to give me the lessons and the experiences that I wanted. When I said, I'm going to go down there and this is what I want to experience. How am I going to experience that? Oh, I know. I'm going to surround myself with these people who are going to give me these experiences. And that's what I chose to do. Okay, that helps me get through some of the days. But when I'm dealing with my family, here's another thing, remembering that they also chose to have me as their sister, me as their daughter, good, bad, indifferent, whatever they needed to learn. They had me, this black sheep hellraiser, says what she wants to say, does what she wants to do, as part of their family as well. And so maybe if you think you're in a situation where you feel like you need to apologize for who you are, fuck that shit. They knew who they were picking when they picked you as a daughter, as a sister, as a brother, as a whatever. So stop apologizing for being you. Be you and let them deal with you just like you have to deal with them. And here's another thing I learned. You grow up with somebody your whole entire life and you think you know them. We don't know shit. We don't know shit. So much about people that we don't know. If you can remember that, then some of the assumptions that you are operating off of, you will let them fall away, and you will just try to be less judgmental and assume less about people. Good, bad, or indifferent, because sometimes we make the mistake of, I'm going to stop assuming this person is bad and I'm just going to assume they're good. Maybe the fuck they're not good. Maybe you should just stop assuming, period, because you assume they're good and then you go in the other direction, and maybe that's not what you should be doing either. I don't know, because I've just been told recently that I don't know shit. That was my higher self telling me, not anybody in the real world, because y'all would hear about me on the 5 o'clock news if somebody came up to me and told me to my face, I don't know shit. So that was my guides telling me I don't know shit about people. And if I can just remember that, life gets easier. The more I learn, the less I know. Ain't that the truth? Yes. Whoa, almost dropped my cards. Mount Shasta. I'm pulling from the Lemuria, Beyond Lemuria guidebook. Mount Shasta 37. Oh, you know what else I did last night? I'm going to tell you in a minute. Let me read this first. Your origins. These are the keywords. Your origins, the seeds that make you who and what you are. Star beings. Sacred power places, unexplained mystical phenomenon, dreams and visions, intuitive messages and downloads. Those are the keywords for this card. So a lot of this is about the author's personal experience with Mount Shasta. I want to get to the message of this card. This card is about origins. It is time to honor and look more deeply into your ancestry, both your bloodline and your etheric lineage. Yeah, it's the second time from two separate decks that we're getting messages about family, lineage, ancestors. So I think I'm also going to pull from ancestors and angels next. Um, do you have an affinity with any star beings? Connecting with them might allow you greater insight into your traits, your strengths, and your challenges. Connecting with your star origin family, if you are a star seed, if you feel more called to do so, will give you greater insight into your traits, your strength, and your challenges. We already had look to the star. Maybe you're not into the whole interstellar, I had a different life on a different planet thing. That's fine. If you're all into I'm a human, we still got that card look to the stars, which means astrology and what's going on with the planets can also inform you on your traits, your strengths, and your challenges. Even if you're not into astrology, what is the basis of these messages? It's asking us to look beyond ourselves, to find a connection greater than ourselves, and to let that connection inform us as to what are our traits, our strengths, and our challenges. What did we come here to experience? And what things were put in place before we incarnated that once we got here, we could look out and gain insight from that would help us on our journey. Kind of see it like a video game. You know how when you start the video game, there's challenges and there's little, I don't know, Mario Brothers, because that's the last video game I was good at way back when. There's little things that you find throughout the game, and there's even little what do they call them? Like hidden realms where you have to do a trick jump and whatever, and then it unlocks this level. That's life, y'all. We have put these things on our path to aid us before we even incarnated. And some of them were astrological things that are in the heaven to inform us of, oh, you're a Sagittarius, and these are your traits and your strength. I knew that. I knew I was going to come under the star stallion of Sagittarius, because I knew I would need to pull on these specific traits to help me in the life that I chose to experience. So whether it's astrology, whether it's the stars, whatever it is, the overall message broken down into a general purpose message is there is something bigger than you that is able to help you on this path. You are not alone. Look for that connection, find that connection, allow it to assist you, allow it to inform you. But on a more personal, spiritual level, you chose your family, you chose your lineage, you chose your ancestors. All of that can help you as well. Angels and ancestors. Somebody said, Oracle card said there would be a wedding. And one of the things that I did not read in that, when I pulled that family card, was new arrival. I kind of see a wedding as a new arrival of a relationship or something. Could also be new arrival of a child. These cards are all over the place. The ancestors have something to say, because these cards are jumping. They're all over the place. So if this particular card doesn't match with you, I'm going to encourage you as a group to spend some time in meditation, connecting with your own ancestors and seeing if anyone is stepping forward with the message for you, because I just feel like that's really important. And if you're unable to do that for yourself, I encourage you to reach out to a practitioner. That doesn't always mean spend money. Go on YouTube, find a practitioner who you resonate with, and see what they have to say. Druid, hold the space. Hold the space. I just want to say thank you to all of the people who know me in my community who have been holding space for me. And I hope to do the same for you. And let's see what this card is all about. Druid, hold the space. Hold things together. Y'all want to know what I just said to my guides in my head? Bitch, if I could do that, I wouldn't need you. Hold things together. Duct tape, string, and bubble gum. That's how I'm doing it. Hold things together. Don't make any sudden moves or changes. Stand strong, knowing you are where you are supposed to be. Okay. The Druids were ancient wise ones of the British Isles. They had a deep connection with the earth, the sun, and the moon. There's astrology coming in again. They were the scholars who created the Ogham tree language, and they were known for their creative skills in storytelling, poetry, and craftsmanship. The message: when the Druid card appears in a reading, you're being guided to dig deep within and hold your station. There's that dig deep again, y'all. Same message over and over again from a different card. I love it. If you're wondering what to do next, or have a sense of anxiety about what is unfolding in your life, do anxiety attacks count? I think I have a sense of anxiety about what's unfolding in my life. It's time to shift your perceptions and move back to a state of trust. Anxiety is linked to fear, and fear is the absence of trust. And I needed that reminder. It's time to move. Thank you, Spirit. I needed that reminder. Move back into a state of trust. Don't change your plans or do anything drastic. Just trust in the process and let everything happen as it needs to before taking any more steps. Think of a tree. It has strong roots, yet continues to grow and bear fruit. Your life will be a reflection of this. I think that's a beautiful card to end on. What do y'all think? I hope those messages have helped you heal, help you move forward, giving you something to think about. Thank you for allowing me time at the top of the hour to just babble and share a bit. I hope that also helped you. Nobody has it all together. And if they tell you they do, I would be very wary, very, very wary of that person. Or here's another analogy for you. Maybe they have it all together because they ain't doing shit with their life. It's easy to have it all together when your sole purpose in life is putting crayons in a box. I don't know what I'm saying. But when you're not doing shit with your life, it's easy to say I got it all together. When you're trying to do big things with your life, as everyone in this room, whoever comes to any of my events you are not going to have it together. You're just not. It's just not part of the game plan for people who have big things to do with their life. You're not going to have it together. And if you can roll with that, it's going to make your path a lot more easier. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for listening to me sniffle, listening to me stand on my soapbox a little bit. And I hope these cards and these messages from Spirit have aided you and will guide you throughout your week. We had the message a couple of times to really sit with what we want and to figure out what that means for us. An excellent way to do that is meditation. I have meditation every week on Wednesday morning, so I hope you all come back and join me for that if you feel so inclined. And of course, we'll be here next Monday, pulling cards for next Monday and seeing what the week holds ahead for us. Manifest your week this week. Manifest something, even on the littlest scale. Manifest a smile. Manifest a good thought. Manifest the big things if you're ready to manifest the good things, but be a creator of your life this week, not a reactor. That's all I got for y'all. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your comments. There's comments waiting over on the side that I will have to read once this is over. I do go through those after this is over, so I'm sorry if I missed your comment. Someone was wanting to connect with me. I just want to send this message out real quick. Goddess with an attitude KC@gmail.com is where you can reach me on email if I missed your message in the chat today. Thank you, everyone. Have a